this is how I focus. So if you look at that test, you'll see I've picked up a lot of what's in that test. So when I did my study quite a few years ago, I didn't know where I was going. I just threw all different hypnosis techniques, and then I started saying, wait a minute, MS was talking about all these habit patterns. And I would write them down, like this one, just control thing, and maybe teach her how to have the habit of relax instead of the habit of controlling everything. And I realized that as I give people, or help people have insights and awareness that they have these particular habit patterns and what havoc or stress or sacrifice those are creating, and then give them resources to modify those patterns without any other, we didn't do anything else, their symptoms would reduce and oftentimes even go away. So what are things I focus on? I want to understand the cause and the meaning, both of the MS in general, but of each specific symptom. I want to eliminate the inner critic, because that's a big one. I want clients to make peace with perfection, because that's driving them and creating chronic stress. And that perfection is not who they are. A baby born isn't perfect. It's not perfectly pooing or perfectly anything, right? Perfection is not in our nature. There's a beauty, there's a respecting something being beautiful, but the drive for perfection comes from stressful events in childhood. I work with what's called congruency and conflict-free, because it's very different what you say and what you do, right? It's like, oh, I have to be this and this, but inside your body you're like, I don't want to do this. I want to sing. Oh, I've got to do this. You know, this looks good. Being single and free doesn't look good, or whatever it is, right? Having much more congruency, what you really want to do and what you're really doing out there. Creating strong inner boundaries, right, with others. We don't learn good boundaries as kids. Not that you're like, no to everything, but your ability to have someone ask you something and to check in, do I want to do this? Is this okay? Or is this going to push me too far? And the ability to say no rather than, yes, well, maybe not yes, right? Working on the belief, and you'll see it on the test, about I'm not enough. Once and for all. Stop pursuing. If I could just show everyone I'm enough, everyone will tell me I'm great or I'm successful, and then I will feel like I'm enough. Remove that belief and it won't be driving every decision you make. Get your needs met. Recognize you have them. And put yourself first, right? That analogy of putting the oxygen mask first before you help everybody. You're not going to stop being a great helper, but you're not going to be a haggard, hardly any sleep, no self-care. You're going to be filling your cup first and then overflowing for other people. Understand and harness your relationship with control. Become guilt and shame free. Explore any inner obstacles to healing. MS is starting to actually help you, right? If you lean a lot on MS, oh, sorry, I can't go to that. With MS, I'm not able to. It becomes your crutch. You need to make sure it's not serving you more than you think. You need to create the resources to be able to say no, rather than using MS as your, sorry, can't have MS. It's good at the beginning, but it's not good to heal it. And this is an interesting one, and this is why I think I wrote it there. You need to release the trauma of a very negative diagnosis. I found that even though I have a study, I printed it, that says that it is determined that only 1 in 5 people diagnosed with MS will actually need a wheelchair or assistance. Then 1 in 5 will need a crutch or 1 cane, but 3 in 5 will not have any need for assistance. I don't know a client yet whose doctor did not say, well, you better get used to you'll be in a wheelchair in 10 years, or this is only going to get worse. And so we need to work on that. It's what I call the nocebo.
You know, when I was diagnosed, my wife and I were walking an hour a night. And so I got sent to a physical therapist, and the first thing she said is, stop the walking, that doesn't do any good for you.
Yeah. So that's a
Somewhere I feel
nocebo.
like
It's
I'd still
like,
be walking an hour a night if she hadn't told me I shouldn't be walking an hour a night.
yeah.
Can we get all the doctors to know that? Because that definitely hit me one of the hardest when they said.
Exactly. I will put a link to that study.
Yeah.
And next time you go to your doctor, you can say, hey, can you read this? And before you tell anybody else what you told me, realize that only 1 in 5. If you had 1 in 5 chance of winning the lottery, would you let go of everything that ever is important to you? I wouldn't risk everything, lose everything, completely get focused on this 25% chance. If there's 75% chance that I'll just either, 60% chance, 3 in 5, that I won't need assistance. 25% chance that I might need a cane or crutches, and only 25% that I'll need, a wheelchair assistance or be bedridden. And those people aren't using all these tools, right?
For me, it was kind of the opposite, because I got my preliminary diagnosis in '99, but it was a diagnosis of, we can't tell you you have it, if you have it, it's extremely mild, don't worry about it. But before I heard those words, when I just got the preliminary diagnosis, I actually thought my life was over.
Yeah.
Because you only hear about the bad cases. You don't hear about people living with mild MS.
Exactly.
So
I have many clients who no one around them, but their immediate family, even knows they have MS.
yeah.
Many clients.
So for me, it was.
But we
kind
don't
of the
see those,
opposite.
we don't
Right.
hear those, and
You
they
only
don't
hear about, bedridden, and they have to turn them to.
Yep.
And that's what I heard, probably the year before I had the preliminary diagnosis.
Exactly.
And that was from my dance instructor whose sister had it. And so after I got, they said it's extremely mild if you had it. I talked to him about it, and he said, whatever you do, don't stop dancing. Because that's what she did, and it went downhill from there. So
Exactly.
and my husband knows when I need dancing. He'll say, we need to get you out on the dance floor again. I said, good, I'm feeling it.
Yeah. And then the last one was very connected to that, is when you feel your life is over, when you think about your future, what do you see?
Nothing.
Nothing. So you need to create a compelling, empowering, and very fulfilling future. Because that will drive you to do the work.